every man likes to have their little home away from home, and ours is, or mine is rather, hunting and camping. But as you get older, and or the kids come along, camping doesn't cut it. Because we used to sleep outside on the ground around the campfire. But it's okay for you, but if you got little kids with you, it gets kind of cold when there's ice on your sleeping bag in the morning. No tents, no nothing, none of that sissy camping, real camping. But anyways, we bypassed the tents and went straight to staying in a cabin, a house, if you will. So I got together a few years back with some of my friends, hunting buddies, and we ended up building a cabin for us to stay in. And there's no air conditioning, no electricity, no running water. It's pretty much a step up from sleeping off the ground, and definitely a step up from sleeping off the ground, and a step up from sleeping in a tent. So right over here is where we end up cleaning our deer. We'll string them up in this tree right here with a pulley system. So we get the wind off the mic. That's just a 55-gallon drum hung up real high, so you can take a shower underneath it if you need to. But we pump water into that, and then from the house bring it down here so we can actually wash off stuff. It's a pretty simple setup. Got a couple of swings up for the kids to play on, keep them somewhat occupied. In our wood pile, we're in the process of getting some more wood for next season. And then the fire ring. And keeping the cows out of the fire ring is pretty tough. They always seem to come in here and mess it up real bad. But a nice big fire ring. And usually we can get about 8 people sleeping around this head to toe. Throw a bunch of wood on there, get your fire about 3 feet tall, or logs on there about 3 feet tall. It's nice and warm. But this is the cabin we built. Most of it's built out of reclaimed lumber. The decking, 2x6 cedar. The doors are from a remodel. And two of these windows, the window you see right there is brand new. I've decided I wanted a window that big and had to special order it. But it's basically sitting on little 20-inch pads of concrete, and then some cinder blocks stacked up about 2 high. Filled the cinder blocks up with some concrete, and then built our foundation underneath that. The foundation's made of 2x8s around the perimeter, doubled up, and then we have 8-foot floor joists that are 2x6s using joist hangers underneath. And at the end of this, I'll throw in a slideshow, and if I can, I'll annotate some few things too. So if you're watching this on a mobile phone, you probably want to check it out on the internet so you can get the annotations. But the siding on this place is cedar picket fences, the privacy fence. I'm using the 6-inch wide pickets. They look a little better than the 4-inch, but it's basically going around and picking up used fencing when people tear down their fence, put up a new one. What place would be complete without an outhouse? We got a little pathway over there and outhouse in the woods. We'll go take a look at that in a minute. But the deck, it's really important, I think, to have a big deck, if you will, because it relieves some of the space inside, especially when it's like you got a lot of folks outside. But here on the outside we have a little gun rack right by the door. Let's take a tour inside. Got some kerosene lanterns mounted on the wall, nice ambiance, if you will. And then inside, the footprint inside the building itself is 16 feet wide and 24 feet long. Adding the deck out here comes out to be 32 feet overall from the length. But inside this main room, it's 16 by 24. These windows across the room, and on the side there's some real nice Pella casement windows with the little crank openings on the bottom. And once again, those are from a remodel. Notice the white, they haven't been painted yet. And the flooring is reclaimed lumber from a decking project. from someone getting a new deck put in. It's a 2x6 seater. Pretty expensive stuff, but I mean, this is, I think their deck was about 1,500 square feet, so I was able to able to save all that. Over here we got a little wood burning stove with a heat reflector on the back, which I don't really think does too much, but it's still nice to have. And we've got a little RV stove that runs on propane. We leave them open right now because we do get mice in here, and by leaving it open it seems to thwart them getting inside and making a nest. A little cooking surface. When you got about 10 people out here or more, you need to have as much cooking area as you can. So we really pile it on. It's just a propane stovetop, and over here I got a little RV type sink with a hose that runs up to these 5-gallon water cooler bottles. So we just need to bring out a new water bottle whenever we need more water for doing dishes, washing hands and such. We have propane lighting in here. These lights are supposed to put out like 75 watts of an incandescent bulb, but I don't really believe that. We have one in here in the kitchen and another one over here on the other side of the room. And below that, for added heat and quicker heat, if you don't want to wait for the fire, we have a 40,000 BTU propane heater. It's an older Dearborn heater. I think it was manufactured in the 80s, but man, this thing cranks it out and sucks up about a tank of gas in about 10 hours on high or close to being high. There's a little storage here for hunting stuff in those boxes. Tables, folding tables for when we want to eat, a bunch of folding chairs. We don't have any permanent furniture in here because people sleep here on the floor in the main room. So by having, you know, a table or something, it kind of limits you how many people you can sleep and where. So we just kind of fold everything up and move things around. A little gun case out here, little rubber boots for when it rains. And then we have a bunch of Coleman propane lanterns, as well as other lanterns. And you got a lot of folks out here. It's pretty nice having these set up. The roofing is just metal roof with fence pickets again as the cross pieces. The trusses I picked up somewhere from somebody tearing down a parking garage on the woods somewhere, I guess. But anyways, they were pre-made, and I just made the triangles to shore them up a little bit. But we have a little bit of storage there in the rafters. I want to keep everything open. You notice there's no drywall, no insulation, because like I said, we do get mice, and I believe that cuts down on how many mice you get in here. We do put a little poison out for them. And then this was the main room as we built the first time. Oh yeah, we got the cooking counter there with window sills so you can watch the kids, keep the kids from killing each other, and a little cabinet space, right, or a little countertop, whatever that is, I forget. Just keep a few odds and ends, but for the most part we keep all our food, paper products in these plastic bins right there to keep the mice out. Bottle opener, very crucial. We have one about every 10 feet. That's the first one. I'll show you some more. Anyways, this is the main room that we built the first time, and then we decided that, you know what, fire extinguishers, very important too. We decided that we needed more room for these kids because we'd put the kids to bed and then we'd want to play poker. Well, the kids would be sleeping there right on the floor where you're trying to play poker. So we built the bunk room. And the bunk room is 8 feet wide and I think 20 or 18 feet long. I can't quite remember. But the beds, I got this made. I've calculated my width on this top bunk here. You can put a queen size air mattress and a single air mattress side to side, so you could put about 4 or 5 kids lined up like cordwood if you want, right on there. And then it's the same on the bottom, and then we can put a single right here and a single right there. And the ladders pose as a ladder and to keep kids from rolling off in the middle of the night if they had to. I didn't have any more of the 2x6 seater, So we ended up using 3/4 inch plywood, tongue and grooved, glued the pieces together. And in here we also have another heater. And it's a fairly old heater. Underneath there I have a floor vent. I can zoom in on that. There's a floor vent underneath there, can't really quite see it, so that the heater gets fresh air in here. And then on the wall, a collection of license plates from all over the country and some in Canada. Kind of cool. Plus it's kind of neat to see the kids in here laying down talking about which states they recognize, and then they can read. And then I have a map of the US so they can get a better idea. And all our kids are, you know, 11 or less. And then we got a little documentation of the stages that were built for the cabin itself. A few signs around here. Got this from some of my co-workers up north. Pretty funny. And a little medicine cabinet right there for kids to put little toys and stuff in. Windows for ventilation, and then another door from another remodel. Happened to match the front over here. But on the propane, I'll show you how that's set up. Since that heater over here sucked up a tank every night, you'd wake up in the middle of the night and the heater would be out. So what we did was I ended up doing dual regulators, kind of like you get on an RV. Let me move this out of the way. So you get dual regulators, and I got a dual regulator for the heater and that light above it, and then I also have a dual regulator for the kitchen, for the stove, and actually the heater in the bunk room. So right in there, well, you can't see it because of the reflection, but I got a propane light in there and a heater, and so the kitchen and that propane light and heater run off a double tank as well. Back up here. So here's these two tanks on this end are on a double row regulator that run that room and the kitchen, and then I got a few extra tanks here that are full, and then at the other end I got another 2 tanks running on a double regulator as well. None of us smoke, so that's really not an issue of having the tanks like that. Plus we check them for leaks. You can pretty much smell propane. But they sit on some rocks on the ground basically, and that hatch right there keeps us allows easy access to them to switch them out as needed. So on this side, here's the outside of those windows. The rafters are open up there. It's just a screen. So if I ever do decide to drywall it and put a drywall ceiling in, it shouldn't be an issue. And then our propane is just, let me see if I can show that, is just run up underneath the cabin here. I insulated them. I worked with a few guys from the north, and they were telling me about their propane lines freezing up. So I thought, you know what, I'll do it. Probably don't need it down here in Central Texas, but it does get cold every once in a while. So that's how I plumbed everything under there. We'll walk around the back side here. It's my back window here, back side. You can see where the addition came on, where we had to remove our siding, put it back on. It's the bunk room. Walk on down here to the outhouse. Used a lot of cedar posts from the property. There's our drain from the kitchen. It's just some 1-inch pipe. Comes right through here underneath here into what used to be a bed of gravel. But we don't dump a bunch of water in there, so it doesn't drain that fast. It's not like you're pouring out a ton of water. And then our outhouse over here, which is made to match the cabin itself. And before we had an outhouse, this was our throne, as we called it. Very simple concept. Removable toilet seat, so when you're not here, you're not getting any scorpions or spiders making a home under there. You just pick that up, put it on top, and you're assured that it's clean, and when you sit down, you're not going to have anything biting you. Anyways, that's a little hunting abode. Hope this helps, and I'll put some slideshows at the end. Thanks for watching.